Before we start the story, please tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a great day and enjoy the story, everyone. "Get this nonsense out of my house before I call the police," Ethan Caldwell shouted, his voice echoing in his study. Each word seemed meant to destroy what was left of Sophia Hart's hopes. She stood frozen in the doorway, wearing the nightgown he had torn from her just hours earlier and holding her positive pregnancy test like proof of her dreams. The same man who had cared for her deeply now looked at her with disgust. His once kind blue eyes held a scorn that made her feel ill. "Ethan, please listen to me," she started, her voice shaking. "Listen to what? More lies?" He rose from behind his desk, his tall frame seeming threatening as he approached her. "Do you really think you can catch me in this foolish plan? Do you know who I am or what my family is worth?" Sophia felt weak. This could not be happening, not after all they had shared 8 months of secret moments and dreams of a future together. "The baby is yours, Ethan. You know it is." He interrupted her sharply, his words cutting deep. "Did you really think it meant something more than that? Just a rich man playing games with his maid?" His harsh tone was like a knife twisting in her chest. But she had sensed this coming. He had grown distant in recent weeks, especially when his father criticized him or his friends made snide remarks. "You said you loved me." Ethan's laugh was cruel. "I say a lot of things to get what I want. Surely you're not that naive." He paced around her, looking like a predator, his expensive suit contrasting sharply with her wrinkled attire. "Let me explain how this works, sweetheart. You're just a housekeeper. I'm Ethan Caldwell, heir to a billion-dollar company. We don't have babies together. We don't have relationships." His finality was cold. "Even if the baby was mine, who would believe you? A maid trying to get pregnant by her boss for money. That's how this looks to everyone." Sophia felt her heart break. The pregnancy test felt like a heavy weight in her hand. She had imagined this moment going differently. In her dreams, he would have been surprised but happy. He would have held her and promised to support her and their child. "I have money," Ethan said, pulling out his phone. "I can make this go away. There's a clinic that can handle this discreetly. 5,000 should cover it, plus a bit extra for your trouble." "You want me to end our baby?" she whispered, horrified. "I want you to take care of your mistake." He was already calling for security. "I need someone to help her leave now. Ethan, please." Sophia reached for him, but he stepped back as if her touch could harm him. "Don't touch me." His voice was cold. "And don't ever say my name again. You no longer work here. You don't know me. You never have." Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway as security came to remove her. Sophia glanced around the room where they had shared so many deep conversations about hopes and fears. She had believed she found love there. The leather chairs, the wall of books, the large windows showing the estate had all been part of a beautiful deception. "I want you to remember this moment," she said quietly, her voice steady even though her heart was breaking. "I want you to remember how you looked at me, how you spoke to me, and how you pushed away the woman who loved you more than anything." Her hand moved protectively to her stomach. "Because someday, Ethan Caldwell, you will regret this. You will realize what you lost." "The only thing I regret is wasting months on someone unworthy," he replied, turning away. "Get her out of here." 2 security guards entered, looking uncomfortable but professional. They had known Sophia for months and chatted with her, but now they acted as if she were invisible. "Ma'am, you need to come with us," one said gently. As they led her out, Sophia took one last look at Ethan. He was already back at his desk, treating her as if she had never been there. But she thought she saw something in his eyes for a moment. Was it regret or doubt? It disappeared quickly, and she might have imagined it. The mansion doors closed with a loud thud behind her. Sophia stood on the steps where she'd first arrived 9 months earlier, full of hope. Now she had only the clothes on her back and a baby on the way. But as she walked away from the only home she had known, something strong grew inside her alongside the pain. Ethan Caldwell had made a huge mistake today. He had thrown away something valuable, and one day she would make him understand what that meant. The girl walking down the driveway would not return the same. When she did come back, Ethan would learn that some betrayals carry a cost he would never be able to pay. Chapter 2. Broken and Desperate. The rain pounded against the cracked windshield of Sophia's old Honda Civic as she sat in the Walmart parking lot, counting the crumpled bills in her wallet for the fourth time that hour, $4,316. That was all that stood between her and complete poverty, between her unborn child and a life on the streets that had affected so many others like her. 2 months had passed since Ethan had turned her world upside down, and each day felt like a deeper struggle. Her pregnancy was noticeable now, a visible bump that made finding work difficult. Even fast food places looked at her condition and found ways to send her away. The few cleaning jobs that had seemed interested suddenly had no openings once they saw her growing belly. It felt like her pregnancy made her unwanted, a risk no one wanted to take. Her stomach ached with hunger as she looked at the McDonald's across the street, its bright sign promising warmth and food she couldn't afford. She had eaten nothing but stale crackers and water for 3 days, carefully rationing what little food she had left, knowing every bite might be her last. The crackers came from a gas station dumpster, leftover packs that the clerk had tossed out. They were still good if she ignored how she felt about taking them. But the baby needed healthy food. The baby needed everything she couldn't give. The car's heater had broken weeks ago, and the December cold seeped through every crack in the old car, making her feel even colder. Sophia pulled her thin coat tighter around her shoulders. It was a worn jacket she had bought at Goodwill with the last of her savings. She tried not to think about the warm floors of the Caldwell mansion, the gas fireplace in her old room, or the meals served on nice plates in the staff dining room. Her phone buzzed with another message. It was another no from a cleaning service. They had filled the position. Thank you for your interest. That was the 15th no this week. Each employer asked for references, and Ethan had made sure she wouldn't get a good one. His words spread through the city's social circles like fire, warning others not to hire her. They said she had tried to trap Ethan with a false claim of pregnancy. The lies hurt more than the hunger. It wasn't a lie. She still had the medical records showing what Ethan refused to face. But Ethan's word meant something in their world, while hers meant nothing. Excuse me, miss. Sophia looked up to see a security guard tapping on her window. His breath made little clouds in the cold air. Her heart raced. She had parked here every night for a week, moving from this lot to 2 others to stay warm and safe. This was the only shelter she had, and now that small comfort was about to be taken away. She rolled down the window, shivering as the cold air rushed in. Ma'am, you can't sleep here. Store policy. You need to move along. His voice was strict but not unkind, like someone who had said this many times to many people in need. I understand, she said, her voice faltering. Where could she go? The homeless shelters had long waiting lists, and most didn't accept pregnant women. The few that did were in places where a young woman alone wouldn't feel safe. Could I stay until morning? I won't cause any trouble, I promise. The guard's expression softened when he saw her condition, noticing her pregnancy and the tired look on her face. He probably had a daughter around her age or grandchildren coming soon. I'm sorry, but I could lose my job, he said. There's a women's shelter about 10 miles south on Route 9. They might have space. Sophia nodded, not trusting herself to speak. She had already been to that shelter twice, once last week and once the week before. Both times they were full, with a waiting list that the busy social worker said would take 6 months to clear. But she couldn't tell him that. She couldn't let him know she had nowhere else to go, that she felt completely alone in a world that seemed to want to push her down. As she drove away, her gas gauge just above empty, Sophia felt the baby kick for the first time. It should have felt magical, a moment to cherish in the darkness. Instead, she felt a heavy guilt. What kind of life could she offer this child? What kind of mother was she if she couldn't even take care of herself? Couldn't provide basic shelter or offer anything but hardship and sadness? This thought had been bothering her for weeks. Ethan had offered $5,000 to deal with the problem. He mentioned the clinic as if ending a pregnancy was as easy as setting up a haircut. It could be so simple. End the pregnancy, take the money, vanish to another city where her last name didn't matter, and start fresh without the weight of a child she couldn't care for. Yet whenever she thought seriously about it, anger surged in her chest. This baby was the only proof of what they had together, even if he wanted to deny it. This child was the only thing Ethan couldn't take away from her or dismiss with his harshness. Ending the pregnancy would mean he won completely, wiping out the final sign of the love she had longed for. Her phone rang, the sharp sound startling her. The caller ID showed her sister Leia's number. Leia lived 3 states away with her own family and challenges. She sent occasional care packages and called every few weeks to check in. Sophia had been avoiding her calls, too embarrassed to say how low she had fallen and too proud to ask for help she knew Leia couldn't give. "Hey, Leia," she said, trying to sound cheerful. "Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for days." Leia's warm voice felt like a lifeline. "How's that job going? Still living in that big house with all those rich people?" Sophia's throat tightened. She couldn't tell her sister the truth. She couldn't explain that she had foolishly fallen for her boss and naively thought a wealthy man could love someone like her. Things were complicated. "I'm okay," she said, the understatement clear in her shaky voice. "Complicated how?" Leia asked. "You sound off. Are you sick?" The concern in Leia's voice made tears spring to Sophia's eyes. Her sister knew her too well. "I'm just tired," Sophia said, the lie bitter on her tongue. It was easier than explaining everything. "Long hours, you know how it is." "And this tiredness isn't because of some rich guy, right? I know that voice, sis. I've heard it before when your heart gets involved in a bad situation." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Leia could read her like a book, even from far away. But she didn't want to add to her sister's burdens. Leia had enough to deal with, raising 3 kids and a husband working double shifts. "I'm fine, Leia. I just need some rest." "You better be telling me the truth, Sophia Marie Hart. If some guy is causing you trouble, I will come there and sort it out myself. You know I mean it." Despite everything, Sophia smiled at the thought. She could imagine Leia, all 5'2" of her, standing up to Ethan in his fancy suit, ready to defend family as she always did. "I know you would. I love you. Love you too, girl. But I'm worried about you. You don't sound right. Are you sure you don't need me to come down there?" "I'm sure. I'll call you tomorrow." "Okay, you better. And Sophia, whatever trouble you're facing, it's not forever. Do you hear me? You're stronger than you know, and you'll get through this." After hanging up, Sophia stayed in the parking lot of a closed gas station and finally let herself cry. Deep sobs shook her body, coming from deep inside. She wondered if the tears would ever stop. She cried for the girl who had believed in happy endings. She cried for the baby who deserved so much more than a mother who felt broken. She cried for the future she had always dreamed of but felt slipping away. And deep down, she cried with anger at Ethan Caldwell for bringing her to this moment alone in a car that might not start tomorrow. But as her tears slowed and her breathing calmed, something else grew inside her, a fierce determination that felt stronger than sadness and grief. Ethan thought he had destroyed her, that she was worthless and could be thrown away. He was wrong. She put her hands on her belly, feeling the small bump where their child grew, where new life continued on despite the pain. "I promise you," she whispered into the dark, her voice steady. "Your father will pay for what he did to us. He will see that throwing away my heart was the biggest mistake of his life. He thinks I'm nothing, but I will show him what nothing can become when it has nothing left to lose." The baby moved again, stronger this time, as if agreeing with her. Sophia took it as a sign that she wasn't alone in this fight. She started the car, ignoring the sounds of the struggling engine, and drove toward the bright city lights. Somewhere out there was her future uncertain and scary, but hers to take. Ethan Caldwell had no idea what was coming. But someday, he would learn that some women don't break under pressure. They become something stronger than anyone ever imagined. The girl who cried in that parking lot was about to change completely. Someone Ethan Caldwell would regret underestimating for the rest of his life. Chapter 3. The Savior. The world tilted as Sophia stumbled on the icy sidewalk outside the Grand Meridian Hotel. Her vision blurred, and she felt weak from weeks of not eating and being exhausted. The cold December air cut through her thin coat. She had been walking for hours, trying to stay warm and find a place to sleep for just one night. It was ironic that she was collapsing outside a fancy hotel, a place where one night cost more than she had earned in a month. Through the large windows, she could see the glowing chandeliers. Wealthy guests in nice clothes were sipping drinks and talking about their comfortable problems while she felt freezing just outside. "Please," she whispered to no one, instinctively holding her belly as she lost her balance. "Not the baby." Strong arms caught her before she fell, pulling her close to a solid chest that smelled of cologne and cold air. Through her foggy mind, she heard a deep voice, concerned and commanding. "We need to call for help now." "No!" Sophia gasped, trying to struggle in the stranger's arms. Her voice was weak, but her fear was clear. No hospital. She couldn't afford it. Afford what? To live. Anger filled her thoughts, not at him, but at the world that would let a pregnant woman faint from hunger on the street. "Look at me. Focus on my voice." Sophia opened her eyes and saw the most striking gray eyes she had ever encountered. The man holding her looked around 35, with dark hair starting to turn gray at the sides and a face that belonged on magazine covers. He radiated wealth and power, dressed in a perfectly fitted black coat that likely cost more than her car. People around him hurried to do what he said without question. But it was his eyes that captivated her. They were deep gray, as if they could see everything and understand everything. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice softer now, though she could sense determination beneath it. "Sophia," she whispered and tried to pull away, though her strength was gone. "I'm sorry. You don't have to. When did you last eat something proper, not leftovers?" His direct question caught her off guard. Most people would ask if she was okay or what happened, offering empty words. This man got straight to the point. Tuesday? Today was Friday. The realization hit her hard. His jaw tightened, and she could see a muscle twitching under his expensive clothes. "Forget the ambulance. Bring the car around. We're taking her somewhere safe." "Sir, perhaps we should call the authorities," another person suggested, likely hotel security, wanting to move her from their entrance. "The authorities?" His voice turned icy, the kind that could make you shiver. "A pregnant woman is fainting from hunger in our city, and you want to call the authorities? The ones who failed her first? Bring the car." Sophia found herself lifted with ease and taken toward a sleek black Bentley that seemed to appear out of nowhere. The man carried her with the smooth confidence of someone used to being in charge. The leather seats felt warm and soft, a sharp contrast to her worn-out car. The inside smelled of rich leather and polished wood, a hint of wealth surrounding everything he touched. "The plaza," he instructed his driver, settling into the seat next to her. "Get their best suite ready and have a private doctor standing by. She will need full medical care." "I can't," Sophia said, her voice a bit stronger now that she was warm. "I can't pay for this." He looked at her with those intense gray eyes, and she felt vulnerable, as if he could see all her secrets and struggles. "Did I ask you to pay?" "But I don't even know who you are," she replied. "Gabriel Stone," he said simply, as if his name should mean something to her. And then it did. Gabriel Stone, the tech leader whose company, Stone Enterprises, had been in the news a lot. Ethan had often talked about him at dinner, calling him ruthless, and claiming he had taken deals from Caldwell Enterprises. According to Ethan, Gabriel Stone represented everything wrong with people who got rich quickly, aggressive, unpredictable, and disrespectful of old traditions. He rose from nothing to become one of the most powerful men in America. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. She was unsure, even though she needed help badly. In her past, powerful men always wanted something in return. "Because you need help," he said. His answer was simple and honest. "And because I've been where you are." "I doubt that." Sophia looked around the fancy car. It clearly cost more money than she had ever seen. "I don't think you've ever been homeless." A sad look crossed his face. It was a look of old pain that made him seem more real. "You'd be surprised," he said. 20 years ago, I slept under bridges. I had to steal food to live." He continued, "I know how it feels when people look right through you, like you are not there. The only things that separate us are luck and time." She could hear the truth in his voice. It was an honesty he could not fake. This man knew what it was like to be hungry and have no hope. He knew how it felt to be thrown away by a world that only cares about money. Hearing this made her feel less alone. She felt less like the only one who had sunk so low. The car stopped at the Plaza Hotel. Staff in uniforms waited outside. Sophia had walked by this place many times, but she never thought she would go inside. The lobby was made of marble and gold. It was so fancy, it was scary. She was very aware of her old clothes and dirty hair. She knew she did not belong in this rich world. "Mr. Stone, your room is ready," the manager said. He was trying to hide his surprise about Sophia. "The doctor is already waiting upstairs." In the elevator, Sophia saw herself in the shiny mirrors and felt sick. She looked just like what she was, a hopeless, broken woman who had lost everything. Her hair was dirty and flat. Her clothes had wrinkles and spots. Her face was thin from not eating and from worry. She wondered what this powerful man thought of her. "Stop," Gabriel said softly. "Stop what?" "Whatever you're thinking," he said. "Stop thinking about how you look or what I think. I see strength in you, not weakness. I see a survivor, not a failure." His gray eyes looked at hers in the mirror. "I see someone who was knocked down but did not give up. That is more special than you know." The hotel room was bigger than some apartments she had lived in. It had windows from the floor to the ceiling that looked out over Central Park. The furniture likely cost more than she had earned in a year. An older man in a white coat stood waiting with a medical bag. He looked serious, but also kind. "This is Dr. Bennett," Gabriel said. "He will make sure you and the baby are okay." The doctor's checkup was careful, but he was gentle. Dr. Bennett's face looked more and more worried as he worked. He checked her blood pressure and listened to the baby's heart with special tools. The answers to his questions showed how little she had eaten. "She has not had enough food or water for a long time," he told Gabriel in a low voice. Sophia heard every word. "A few more days and we might have lost them both. She needs fluids from an IV right away and a careful food plan. It will take weeks for her to get better, not days. Give her whatever she needs." Gabriel's voice was firm. There was no room to argue. "Money is not a problem." As the doctor set up an IV quickly and skillfully, Sophia saw Gabriel walk back and forth. He was making quick phone calls. She heard parts of his conversations like food expert, maternity clothes, and a secure location. He was changing his whole day for someone he had just met on the street. He was spending more money on her care than she had ever known. "Why?" she asked when he finished the call. Gabriel sat in a chair next to her bed, dressed in a nice suit that felt out of place with all the medical equipment around them. "Why? What do you mean? Why are you helping me? You don't know who I am. I could be anyone, a bad person or someone trying to trick you." She knew all the stories about people trying to take advantage of rich men. "Are you?" he asked. "No, but why does it matter? I know who you are right now. You are someone who needs help." He leaned closer, his gray eyes serious with a look she couldn't understand. "Everyone deserves a chance to rebuild. Sophia, the question is what you will do with the chance I'm giving you." For the first time in months, she felt something other than sadness rising inside her. This man, the rival of someone named Ethan, was offering her what Ethan had not: respect, dignity, and a chance to show her value. "I don't want charity," she said strongly, her voice getting firmer as the medicine flowed through her. "If you are going to help me, I want to earn it. I am smart, educated, and I am willing to work harder than anyone you've hired." A slow smile spread across Gabriel's face, making him look almost youthful. "Now that's what I wanted to hear. Tell me about yourself, Sophia. What skills do you have that I can use?" As she talked about her business degree, her skills in organization, her experience managing homes, and her knowledge of different languages, she began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. It was not the childish hope she had with Ethan, but something stronger and more realistic. This man was really listening to her, valuing her words instead of ignoring her. She was ready to stop feeling like a victim. Gabriel Stone had given her a chance, and she planned to use it to change herself into someone Ethan Caldwell would not recognize, someone who could bring him down. As the medicine continued to help her regain her strength and clear her mind, Sophia started to make plans. She had information about the Caldwell family's weaknesses, their business mistakes, and their private issues. She had a strong desire for change that would push her through whatever came next. Now she had a way and access to Ethan's greatest rival and the means to turn her plans into action. Ethan Caldwell thought he had ruined her by throwing her out. He had no idea he had just set the stage for his own downfall. 8 weeks later, Sophia hardly recognized the woman in the full-length mirror in her suite at Stone Towers. The broken girl who had collapsed outside was gone. In her place was someone new, confident and polished, radiating authority that made others turn quiet when she walked in. Her change hadn't just been physical, the differences were noticeable. The tailored dress fit her perfectly, designed to highlight her figure while still looking professional. Her hair, styled at the best salon, flowed beautifully past her shoulders. Her skin glowed with health. She stood tall and sure, and her eyes, once filled with sadness, now sparkled with keen intelligence and controlled ambition. But the real change was deeper than just how she looked. She moved differently now, spoke with confidence, and held herself like someone who expected her opinions to matter and her choices to be respected. The unsure housekeeper who used to apologize for being there had given way to a woman who expected respect and often got it. "The morning briefings are ready, Miss Hart," a voice said through the intercom that connected her office to the executive floor. "Thank you, Clara. I'll be right there." Sophia's voice had changed, too. It was steadier and more commanding, the kind of tone that made people listen. She realized that when people looked for authority from you, you could naturally grow into that role. Being confident was a skill you could learn, just like any other. As Gabriel's assistant, she had put her all into understanding every part of his business, driven by the feeling that she had much to prove and everything to gain. Stone Enterprises wasn't just a tech company, it was a huge business involved in many fields, from clean energy to luxury real estate, and from advanced medicines to investments in new markets. Gabriel let her see it all, testing and challenging her, watching as she earned her place with the focus of someone looking for a true partner, not just a worker. The office where she worked was a showcase of modern power, all glass and steel, with a view of the city like a kingdom at her feet. From her desk, she could see the Caldwell family's headquarters in the distance, a reminder of what she had lost and what she intended to get back. The building seemed smaller from this view, less impressive, as if the distance showed it for what it really was, a fading symbol of old wealth in a world that was moving on. "Good morning," Gabriel said, breaking her thoughts. He entered the office with his usual strong presence, dressed in a navy suit that likely cost more than most cars. But what drew her in were his eyes, those intense gray depths that seemed to notice, understand, and value everything about her that her past partner had ignored. "Morning," she said, handing him the tablet with his schedule. Their fingers brushed as they exchanged the tablet, a touch that was becoming more common and filled with unspoken tension. The conference call went exceptionally well. They want to move ahead with the merger earlier than expected, and the Tokyo markets responded positively to yesterday's news. "We're seeing a 15% increase in Asian investments." "Impressive. What about the Caldwell situation?" Sophia felt a familiar thrill at the thought of strategic planning. For the past month, they had been carefully working to weaken Ethan's new battery technology that Caldwell Enterprises had spent years developing. "Their lead engineer just accepted our offer. Doctor, Emily Walsh will join Stone Enterprises next week with her entire research team." Gabriel's smile was confident and pleased, like a hunter who had successfully caught its target. Ethan must be upset. He apparently threw a laptop in his office when he found out and spent an hour arguing with his father about it. Sophia worked to keep her voice calm and professional, but she couldn't hide her satisfaction entirely. Each small victory against Ethan felt like a step toward justice, as if the world was finally balancing itself out. "You're really enjoying this," Gabriel said, stepping closer until she could smell his cologne and feel his warmth. Sophia replied, "I'm just glad to see an arrogant man facing the consequences for his actions. Is Ethan just an arrogant man to you?" The question lingered in the air, heavy with meaning. Sophia wasn't ready to think about it deeply. Over the weeks, she had shared parts of her story with Gabriel: the pregnancy, the betrayal, the hardship, but she had never said Ethan's name. She hadn't admitted that her wish for revenge was personal and consuming. He represents everything wrong with privilege and cruelty, of men who think they can mistreat women without any consequences, she said, turning to face him fully. Gabriel looked at her for a long moment, his gray eyes searching her face as if trying to uncover hidden truths. When I first found you, I thought you were running away from something. Now I see you're actually running toward something. What is it? Before she could respond, he walked to the window, his presence filling the room, even in silence. I have a suggestion for you. What kind of suggestion? She asked. Have dinner with me tonight. Not a work dinner, a real one. Just the two of us. He turned back to her, his gray eyes holding something that made her heart race. I want to know who Sophia Hart really is when she's not my perfect assistant. Sophia's heart raced. For the past 8 weeks, their relationship had been strictly professional, but she would be lying if she said she hadn't noticed how he sometimes looked at her, how conversations paused when their hands brushed during work. He often found ways to be near her, asking her for opinions that went beyond her job. There was a connection between them that felt stronger each day. A tension that had nothing to do with work and everything to do with the mutual respect of two strong individuals. Gabriel, I don't think that's why, she replied. Is it because you work for me? He turned to her, determination in his gray eyes. Or is it because you're expecting another man's child? His blunt question made her flinch. They had never talked about the details of her pregnancy or the man who had abandoned her. The pregnancy doesn't matter to me, Sophia. I made that clear from the start, he said, his voice steady. And about work, I'm a billionaire who owns this company. I can see whoever I want, and I want to see you. It's not that simple, she insisted. It is exactly that simple. He stepped closer, close enough for her to catch his cologne again. Unless you still have feelings for him. What? No. The denial came out sharper than she meant it. I hate him. Hatred and love often go hand in hand, he said thoughtfully, without judgment, but with an insight that made her feel vulnerable. Not in this case, she said firmly. Ethan destroyed any feelings I had for him. He abandoned me and denied his own child. Whatever I felt for him is gone. Gabriel's expression flickered, maybe with satisfaction or relief. Then have dinner with me. Let me show you how a man who respects a woman treats her. The comparison to Ethan was clear and intentional. Everything Gabriel had done since meeting her had been the opposite of Ethan's harshness. Ethan had kept her hidden, treating her like something to be ashamed of. In contrast, Gabriel gave her a respected role in his company. While Ethan overlooked her intelligence, Gabriel appreciated her thoughts and ideas. When Ethan had turned away from her during a tough time, Gabriel had saved her and offered her a chance to create a new life, even better than before. One dinner, she said at last. One dinner, he replied, but his smile hinted at plans for many more. That evening, Sophia found herself in the back of Gabriel's fancy car, wearing a beautiful black dress that fit her growing belly and made her feel special. Just 2 months ago, she could never have imagined going from living on the streets to having dinner with a billionaire. Yet here she was, a shining example that sometimes the worst times can lead to the best changes. The restaurant they visited was so exclusive that it likely had a waiting list for weeks. However, the host welcomed Gabriel warmly and guided them to a private table with a stunning view of the city lights. While the scenery was amazing, Sophia was more focused on the man sitting across from her. This powerful, intriguing stranger had become her savior and might become more than that. You're nervous, Gabriel noticed as they settled in. A little, she admitted. It's been a while since I've done this. What? Had dinner? She chuckled, though it felt strange. Been on a date? The father of my baby wasn't the dating type. What type was he? Gabriel asked casually, but she could tell he was genuinely curious, piecing together the bits of her story. The kind of man who takes what he wants and discards what he doesn't need. His loss is my gain, she said simply. The confidence in her words made her heart flutter. When had a man last looked at her like she was special instead of a burden? As the evening went on, she began to relax more than she had in months. Gabriel was an engaging conversationalist, smoothly shifting between business, art, and literature, showing a real interest in the world. He listened carefully when she spoke, asked insightful questions, and valued her opinions, making her feel important. "You're different from what I expected," she said over dessert. "Different how?" Gabriel asked. "Ethan always said you were ruthless, a shark who destroyed everything in his way." Gabriel's smile was intense and somehow very appealing. "Ethan is not wrong. I can be ruthless when I need to be. The difference is I protect what's mine." The way he spoke sent a rush of warmth through her. "And what's yours?" Sophia asked. "That remains to be seen," he replied, locking eyes with her. His gaze was deep, holding both promises and warnings. "But I think I'm about to find out." As they drove back to Stone Towers, Sophia admired Gabriel's profile in the dim light. He was everything Ethan wasn't: self-made, genuine, and protective. While Ethan had been handsome but empty, Gabriel was both attractive and substantial, a man who had built his success through hard work and intelligence, not just family wealth. "Thank you," she said as they reached her floor for dinner. She was grateful for everything: for saving her life, for giving her a chance, and for treating her with worth. Her voice was gentle but strong. "You've helped me get my self-respect back." Gabriel brushed her cheek lightly, his touch filled with kindness. "You matter so much, Sophia. The man who let you go is a fool who will regret his actions for a long time." When he kissed her, it was different from Ethan's possessive style. It was respectful and gentle. When they pulled away, Sophia felt truly alive again, not just getting by but thriving. "Good night," Gabriel whispered softly. As she watched him leave, she saw that her transformation was complete. The broken girl Ethan had discarded was gone. In her place stood a strong woman, protected by one of the most formidable men around, ready to take back what should have been hers all along. Ethan had no idea what was coming, but he was about to learn that some women do not just get through betrayal. They turn it into strength for something even greater. Chapter 5. Love and War. The first cry filled the air of the delivery room at Mount Sinai Hospital. Sophia's heart swelled with love, overwhelming her. After 14 hours of intense labor, her son had finally arrived, and he was perfect. "He's beautiful," Gabriel said, his voice filled with emotion as he held her hand tightly. He had been with her through every painful moment, never leaving, even when the doctor suggested he step outside for a bit. His suit was wrinkled from hours in the hospital chair, and his hair was messy, but to her, he had never looked more handsome than at this moment of joy. Sophia watched with tears of love as the nurse weighed the baby before placing him on her chest. 8 pounds, 2 ounces of pure joy, with dark hair and perfect features that hinted at a wonderful mix of both parents. His tiny hand grasped her finger with surprising strength. At that moment, she knew she would protect him fiercely. The baby's eyes were wide, looking for his mother's face with great curiosity. As he stared at her, Sophia felt a deep connection that seemed to touch her very soul. This was love in its purest form, unconditional and protective. "Hello, Noah," she whispered, inhaling the sweet scent of her newborn that felt like nature's way of creating bonds. "Noah Stone," Gabriel declared with certainty. When Sophia looked at him in surprise, she saw determination in his gray eyes. "If you allow me to adopt him fully, I want to be his father in every way that counts emotionally and officially. I want my name on his birth certificate, to keep him safe, and to love him as the center of his life." Tears flowed freely then, filled with relief, gratitude, and deep emotion. Ethan had turned away from this precious baby even before he was born, but Gabriel was stepping up without hesitation, ready to embrace him as his own. This man, who could have children of his own one day, was deciding to choose her son as his heir? Was that really true? "He's not yours, he's mine." Gabriel interrupted, his tone leaving no room for argument. "From the moment you brought him into my life, he became mine. Biology is just about genes, Sophia. Love creates a family. Commitment makes a father. Choice shapes a future." 3 days later, As they settled into the nursery Gabriel had set up in his apartment, Sophia was amazed by how much her life had changed. The room was beautifully decorated with custom furniture made by skilled artisans, smooth organic linens, and every comfort money could buy. But it was the way Gabriel held Noah, so naturally and protectively, that made her love him even more. She watched as he changed the baby's diaper with surprising skill, quietly talking about business as if Noah could grasp every word. "You see, little man, the key to successful talks is understanding what others value most," he whispered gently while fastening the diaper. "Your biological father cares more about appearances than what really matters. That's going to lead to his downfall." "There's something I need to tell you," Sophia said as they watched Noah sleep in his crib, his tiny chest rising and falling peacefully. She had been planning this talk for weeks, knowing that being completely honest was essential for their relationship to grow stronger. Gabriel turned to her, his attention focused. "What is it?" Sophia took a deep breath, summoning her courage. It was time for the truth. "I know who Noah's biological father is, and you know him too." "Who?" "Ethan Caldwell." The silence that followed was heavy. Gabriel's expression changed from surprise to understanding, and finally to a cold anger that made him look truly formidable. The room felt colder as he processed the implications. "Ethan Caldwell," he repeated slowly, each word heavy with meaning. "The heir to Caldwell Enterprises, my biggest competitor. Yes, you worked for him. And he rejected you when you told him you were going to have a baby," Sophia confirmed, watching for his reaction. She had grown to love Gabriel over the past months, but she needed to see if this would change things between them. Some people's pride can't handle the idea of loving someone who had been pushed aside by their rival. Gabriel walked to the window, looking out at the city, his hands clasped behind his back, which she knew meant he was deep in thought. When he spoke, his voice was calm, but serious. "Tell me everything." So she did. She shared the whole story, how Ethan had won her over, made her feel special, and then discarded her when it was no longer convenient. She told him about the hurtful words, the security guards, the long months of hardship. She held nothing back, sharing every moment of pain she had faced. When she finished, the silence between them was thick. "He called my son a mistake," Gabriel finally said, his voice so cold it sent a shiver through her. Gabriel turned to her, his gaze intense and frightening. "Do you know what I do to those who hurt what is mine, Sophia?" "What do you mean?" "I make them pay." His smile was sharp, hinting at a chilling sense of determination, completely and utterly. "I erase them from significance so thoroughly that they are forgotten." "I don't want your sympathy." Gabriel laughed, but it wasn't funny. "This isn't about sympathy. It's about fairness. Ethan Caldwell threw away the most valuable things in my life, you and Noah. He will understand the cost of his actions." He stepped closer and held her gently in his arms, even though anger was evident in him. "I've loved you for months, Sophia. I planned to propose before Noah was born. Learning that his biological father is my biggest rival doesn't change that. It just makes our future together feel more fitting. You were planning to propose?" Instead of answering, Gabriel knelt down right there in the nursery and opened a ring box that made Sophia gasp. The diamond was huge and perfect, with smaller stones around it that sparkled in the light like little stars. It looked like a ring that belonged in a museum, worth more than many homes. "Sophia Hart, you are the strongest, most inspiring woman I've ever known. You've made me believe in love and family, in creating something wonderful instead of just fighting my enemies." His voice was calm and confident. "Marry me. Be my wife, my partner, my equal in everything. Let me spend my life showing you and Noah that you are the most important parts of my world." "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, her voice strong. "Yes, absolutely. Yes." As he placed the ring on her finger, Noah stirred in his crib, making soft baby sounds that seemed like approval. The ring felt perfect on her finger, substantial, real, and lasting. "There's one condition," Gabriel said as he stood and pulled her close. "I want Ethan Caldwell to see what he gave up. I want him to realize that while he has been busy with his company, I have taken his son and the woman he didn't appreciate." His eyes were determined. "I want him to see us build something great while his life falls apart. That's not revenge, Gabriel. It's only the start." His smile was sharp, serious, and captivating. It's just the first step. The real consequences come when we take apart everything he cares about: his business, his reputation, his family's name, everything. You want to ruin Caldwell Enterprises? I want to take down Ethan Caldwell. The company is just a side effect. Gabriel's eyes burned with determination. He made this personal when he hurt you. Now I'm going to show him what happens when he crosses me. And if I said I wanted no part of this plan, Gabriel looked closely at her, searching her eyes for honesty. I would still marry you, adopt Noah, and love you both forever. But I will still hold Ethan Caldwell accountable, just in a quieter way. He hurt what's mine. That can't be forgiven. His honesty was tough, yet somehow comforting. Gabriel wasn't asking for her approval to confront Ethan. He was inviting her to be part of it, to join him instead of just being protected. I want him to understand what he lost, what he threw away, she said, her voice firm. I want him to regret how he treated me. Then we will make him regret it, Gabriel promised, his tone dark yet certain. 2 weeks later, the engagement announcement appeared in every major newspaper and business magazine, accompanied by professional photographs showcasing Sophia's transformation from a forgotten housekeeper to a billionaire's bride. The news was everywhere. Gabriel Stone, a well-known tech leader, announced his engagement to Sophia Hart, a former employee of the Caldwell family. She had gone from housekeeper to the fiancée of a billionaire. The news was made to catch attention, giving just enough detail for Ethan to understand who Gabriel was marrying. Each word was chosen carefully. Every picture showed Sophia looking her best. Sophia knew Ethan would see the news. Everyone in their social circle would make sure of it. They would watch his reaction as he realized that his old housekeeper was now one of the most influential women in the city. When he understood this, the fun would truly begin. Sophia held her 3-week-old son Noah while looking out at the city skyline through tall windows. Ethan was probably reading about her engagement right then, finally grasping what she had become and what he had lost through his own actions. Your daddy didn't value us, she whispered to Noah, who looked up at her with wide, dark eyes. But we found someone who knows our worth. She smiled, thinking about how they would show Noah's biological father the cost of discarding something valuable. Noah made a small sound and snuggled closer to her. Sophia took it as a sign that he agreed with her plans. The engagement announcement was just the beginning. Ethan had no idea he had already lost. He was about to learn that some betrayals last a long time and that some women are far more powerful than their rivals expect. Chapter 6. The Perfect Weapon. The estate in the Hamptons where Sophia and Gabriel got married was a symbol of quiet strength. The vast lawns stretched to a private beach, and the gardens spoke of wealth and influence. As Sophia walked down the aisle in her beautiful gown, holding baby Noah instead of flowers, she felt like she was stepping into a role that was meant for her. The dress was stunning, made of silk that shimmered, decorated with pearls and crystals that sparkled in the sun. It was designed to showcase Noah, creating a picture that would be remembered for a long time. The former housekeeper had become a queen, holding the future of the Stone family in her arms. You look like a queen, Gabriel whispered as she reached him at the altar, his soft gray eyes full of love. I feel like one, she replied with all her heart. The ceremony was perfect, elegant, and private, yet broadcast live for everyone to see. Sophia knew Ethan would be watching, knowing she was becoming Mrs. Gabriel Stone while holding the son he had turned his back on. This thought brought her deep satisfaction, hidden behind a bright bridal smile. But it was the reception that truly declared their intentions to the world, serving as both a celebration and a bold statement. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabriel's voice rang out to the crowd of influential people as he raised his glass, capturing everyone's attention. Thank you all for joining us on this amazing day. 2 years ago, I found my wife passed out on a city street. She was pregnant and left behind by a man who didn't realize what he was giving up. The crowd around us buzzed with whispers. This wasn't the usual wedding talk, and everyone knew they were seeing something important. That man's weakness led me to the 2 greatest gifts of my life, Sophia and Noah. While I could thank him for his foolishness, I'm not that kind. Gabriel had a sharp smile, full of promise and intensity. Instead, I'm going to show him what happens when you let go of something valuable. Starting Monday, Stone Enterprises will begin a new phase that will change this whole industry. The applause was loud, but Sophia noticed the keen looks from the crowd, CEOs, hedge fund managers. They all understood the underlying message. A challenge had been thrown, and they were making their choices. As the reception went on, Sophia moved through the group like the skilled professional she had become, blending in with influential people as if she was meant for this world. Those who previously saw her as just support staff now recognized her as one of the most powerful women in the nation. She was polite and charming, gathering useful information for the future. "Mrs. Stone," Senator Thompson said as he approached with his wife, both trying to hide their curiosity behind friendly smiles. "Congratulations on your marriage. What a remarkable change." "Thank you, Senator. I would say it's less of a change and more of a realization. I've always been who I am now. I just needed someone to see it." The hint at Ethan didn't go unnoticed, and she saw it hit home for those around her. By tomorrow, everyone in Manhattan's elite circles would know about this conversation. "Gabriel is very lucky," said Mrs. Thompson, her tone seeming to suggest otherwise. "We're both lucky," Sophia replied smoothly, her smile steady. "After all, strong partnerships are based on respect and common goals. Speaking of that, I hear Caldwell Enterprises is also competing for the same renewable energy contracts as Stone Enterprises." The senator's face changed, becoming more careful. "I wouldn't know the specifics," he said. "Of course not. I just find it interesting how companies tackle innovation. Some look to the past while others embrace change." Her smile was sweet but pointed. "We'll see which approach does better in today's market." Later that night, as guests left and the catering staff tidied up, Sophia stepped onto the terrace overlooking the ocean. Noah slept peacefully in her arms, worn out from his first big event but having charmed everyone he met. Gabriel came up beside her, loosening his tie as if he had just won an important victory. "I've pinpointed 3 board members at Caldwell Enterprises who are unhappy with Ethan's management. Lena Wong is particularly upset about how he's handling the Asian markets. Plus, Lena's daughter is getting married next spring. She'll need a wedding planner, and I know the best in the city, who also owes me some favors." Sophia's smile was clever. Sometimes the most impactful talks happen over wedding plans and seating arrangements. Gabriel chuckled softly. "Remind me not to get on your bad side." "You won't have to worry about that. You're completely mine now and forever." She turned in his arms, Noah still sleeping between them, a sign of their shared future. But Ethan Caldwell is going to learn that letting go of Sophia Hart was like throwing away something very dangerous. Gabriel's expression turned serious. "I found out something interesting today. Ethan has been asking about you, especially about who helped you after he let you go. Does he know it's you?" "Not yet, but he's getting close. My sources say he's been focused on the wedding news, trying to figure out how his former housekeeper became one of the most influential women in New York." Gabriel's smile was grim. "He has spent a lot of time and money hiring private investigators to follow your movements since you left him." Sophia felt a thrill of dark satisfaction. "Good. I want him to know. I want him to think about what he lost and what he threw away. He will, but we need to be careful. Ethan is in a desperate situation now, and desperate people do foolish things that can harm others. Let him act foolishly. It will just give us more chances to strike back." Her voice was cold and sharp. "I have spent the last year learning about every weakness in the Caldwell family business. I managed Ethan's private messages, knew about their failed deals, and heard countless phone calls about their financial troubles and old contracts that didn't work anymore. I kept track of it all while I was there. And you want to use this information? Yes, I want to take apart everything Ethan thinks is important. The company, his reputation, his family's legacy. I want him to lose everything, just like I lost everything when he pushed me away." Her voice carried the weight of months of planning and dreams of revenge. "I want him to understand what it feels like to have your whole world vanish in an instant." Gabriel looked at her, lit by the moonlight, which made her appear both beautiful and fierce. "This isn't just about fairness now, is it? It's personal. It has always been personal." Sophia's eyes shone with determination shaped by hardship. filled with a strong love for the family Ethan tried to hurt. Ethan Caldwell tried to destroy me. He left me with nowhere to go and believed I was too weak to fight back. Now I'm going to show him just how strong I've become. And if he goes after Noah, trying to claim rights as a parent, he gave those rights up when he denied Noah's existence. Her voice turned serious, her protective instincts rising like a mother defending her child. If he tries to use our son against us, I will make sure he is forgotten completely. The weight of her words hung in the air between them, dark and real. There's something else, Gabriel said quietly. Something I haven't shared with you. What is it? Ethan's father called my office yesterday. He wants to meet. Sophia froze, her mind racing through all the possible meanings. William Caldwell wants to meet with us and specifically asked if you would be there. Gabriel's smile was tense, suggesting there could be trouble ahead. He has been looking into what happened while you worked for his family. He knows what Ethan did. I think he's starting to understand everything, and I believe he is quite upset with his son. Gabriel's tone held the satisfaction of someone watching an enemy weaken from within. William Caldwell didn't build his business by being foolish or careless. If he was reaching out to them, it meant he understood what was happening. Sophia's mind raced with what this could mean. William Caldwell was the real power behind Caldwell Enterprises. If he questioned Ethan's choices and contacted them directly, he must want to meet. Next week at the Metropolitan Club in Nitral Territory. Her decision was quick and firm. With plans developed over months, it was time for the Caldwell family to see that their former housekeeper had turned into a major threat. As they returned to their home, Sophia felt the difference within herself. 9 months ago, she had been homeless, living in her car and thinking about desperate options. Now she was one of the strongest women in America, married to Ethan's biggest rival, and in a position to challenge everything Ethan valued. The idea of revenge was no longer just a thought. It was a carefully planned strategy, and she was ready to succeed. Every piece of the plan was set, all allies were in place, and every weakness was noted. Ethan Caldwell was about to learn that some mistakes cannot be forgiven, and some women hold more power than anyone expects. The girl he had ignored had become his greatest challenge, and she was just beginning. The struggle for control was about to start, and Sophia Stone had everything she needed. Chapter 7. The Unraveling. Ethan Caldwell's hands trembled as he looked at the newspaper on his desk, the same desk where he signed important deals meant to keep his business strong. Instead, everything was falling apart, and he felt overwhelmed by the mess he had created. "Stone Enterprises dominates renewable sector," shouted the headline, making him feel mocked by his failures. The article featured a picture that sent chills through him. Gabriel Stone and his wife at a government contract signing, both showing the kind of power that drew admiration. The woman next to Stone was stunning, confident, and commanding attention like a queen. Something about her face haunted Ethan's thoughts, a familiarity that filled him with dread. This was the 5th big contract Stone Enterprises had taken from Caldwell Enterprises in 4 months. A renewable energy deal worth $3 billion had seemed guaranteed until it was taken away. Their plans for growth in Asia had collapsed suddenly. Their partnerships were falling apart. Everything Ethan tried to do ended in failure. "Sir," his assistant's voice came through the intercom, sounding urgent. "Your father wants to see you right away." Ethan felt his heart sink. William Caldwell only called for his son during serious problems, and this was a huge issue. Walking to his father's office felt like a long, heavy journey through his failing world. "Sit down, Ethan." William Caldwell's voice was chilly as he pointed to the chair in front of him. At 65, the elder Caldwell still commanded respect and fear, his silver hair well kept and his suit spotless despite the chaos around them. "Explain to me how we've lost 5 major contracts to Stone Enterprises in the past few months." "It's corporate spying," Ethan said quickly, desperation creeping into his voice. "Stone is somehow getting inside information about our bids and strategies." "What strategies?" William's laugh was sharp, cutting right through him. "We've been using the same old methods for 20 years while our competitors improve and change. Dad, I've been working on new plans to modernize. Have you? Because what I see is a company losing talent, contracts, and getting bad press, while our biggest rival gets stronger every day. William leaned back in his chair, looking serious. Do you know what I heard at the club yesterday? Ethan stayed quiet, worried about what was coming next. Senator Thompson told me that Stone Enterprises has an amazing advisory team. Mrs. Stone personally handled the negotiation for the renewable energy contract. Our team seems inexperienced compared to theirs. Mrs. Stone. Ethan's voice shook a little. His wife is involved in business? More than involved. I've heard she's the smart one behind their recent growth. William's eyes narrowed. Gabriel Stone married a sharp woman who knows business and politics well. What did you do? Ethan married someone who seems more interested in social media than our family's legacy. The mention of his recent engagement to Isabella Harper hurt. But Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Stone's wife. What do you know about her? This Mrs. Stone? I know she used to work for our family. The word struck Ethan hard. His father's face was calm, but something intense was hiding beneath it. Worked for us? In what way? She was our housekeeper until about a year and a half ago when she left without any explanation. Ethan's mind raced. The woman in the photos, the one making moves against his company, it couldn't be. Sophia had seemed ordinary at the time, just a brief distraction who had made his life complicated. What was her name? He asked quietly. Sophia Hart, now Sophia Stone. William's tone was low and serious. Care to explain why our former housekeeper is now married to our biggest rival and is trying to ruin what we've built? Ethan felt a lump in his throat. I've done some digging, son. William stood and looked out the window, hands behind his back. Miss Hart left our employment under strange circumstances. No one seems to remember what happened, which is odd for someone who was well regarded. She was just the help, Ethan replied. The help who graduated top of her class from Columbia Business School. The help who spoke 4 languages and ran our household perfectly. William turned to face his son, and Ethan had never seen him look so angry. What did you do, Ethan? Nothing. She was only with us briefly. Just a brief time? William's voice was icy. And yet our former employee is now one of the most influential women in New York, married to the man competing against us. What a strange coincidence. Before Ethan could say anything, his phone buzzed with a text from his assistant. Check the business news now. With shaky fingers, Ethan opened the financial news. The headline made him freeze. Caldwell Enterprises stock is falling as the board questions leadership. Sir, his assistant said over the speaker, trying to hide her worry, the board is holding an emergency meeting. Some members want to discuss changes in leadership. William's face turned cold. It seems the board has lost faith in us. This is all Stone's doing, Ethan said in panic. He's playing with the market, spreading lies. Is he? Or is he just taking advantage of our weaknesses? William moved back to his desk, his movements sharp and deliberate. Lena Wong called me this morning. She's worried about our strategy in the Asian market. Apparently, Mrs. Stone noticed some of our issues at a recent social event. Ethan felt the room spin. Lena Wong was one of their most important board members, and if she was listening to Mrs. Stone, then the problems ran deeper than he thought. I can fix this, Ethan said quickly. I can turn things around. Can you? From where I'm sitting, it looks like you've already lost a battle I didn't even know we were in. William's phone rang, and he glanced at the caller ID. Stone Enterprises. The timing was interesting. Don't answer it, Ethan said urgently. Why not? William's finger hovered over the answer button. Maybe it's time I spoke with our former employee and her impressive husband. Dad, please. But William had already answered. Mr. Stone, what a surprise, he said. Ethan could only hear his father's side of the conversation, but each word felt heavy. Yes, I've been following your company's impressive growth. Your wife has really made a mark on the business community. A meeting? How thoughtful of you to suggest it. The Metropolitan Club would be perfect. Yes, I'd love to meet with both of you. When William hung up, the silence felt stretched and tense. They want to meet with us, William finally said. Gabriel Stone and his wife. Tomorrow evening. You can't seriously be considering that. I'm thinking about how to save what's left of our company while there's still time. William's voice was firm. If that means talking to someone who seems to understand our business better than you do, then that's what I'll do. Ethan felt trapped. Sophia, smart and determined Sophia, was tearing apart everything he had taken for granted. The woman he had dismissed had become his greatest challenge. She's doing this on purpose, he said, realizing how deep this went. This is revenge. Revenge for what, Ethan? He couldn't answer. How could he explain what had happened with their housekeeper? How could he admit he had made terrible choices? I need to know what happened between you and Miss Hart, William said quietly. All of it. Because if I am going into this meeting with people who could harm us, I need to know exactly what we're up against. I can't, Ethan whispered. Then you've already lost. William moved toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Ethan, you are removed from all major business decisions for now. It seems you've shown that your judgment is not reliable. As his father left the office, Ethan slumped in his chair and looked at the newspaper photo again. Sophia's face smiled back at him, confident and strong. The woman he had discarded had become his downfall. And the worst part was, he was starting to remember just how amazing she had always been. Chapter 8. The Recognition. The Metropolitan Club's grand ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and the chatter of New York's most influential people. But Ethan Caldwell felt like he was walking through a bad dream. The annual charity gala was the highlight of the social calendar, where large deals were made over drinks and events masked political strategies. Ethan adjusted his black tie with shaky hands, scanning the crowd for any sign of Gabriel Stone and his wife. His father insisted they go, even though Ethan strongly disagreed. We need to show strength, William said. Backing down now means admitting defeat, but Ethan already felt they had lost. The meeting at the club 2 days ago had been a lesson in how to handle chaos. He saw his father, a man who never showed weakness, treated like an equal by Sophia Hart, a former housekeeper who now had more respect during one conversation than Ethan had earned in years running the family business. Ethan, dear, you look so unhappy, Isabella Harper said, standing next to him in a shiny silver dress that probably cost more than a small car. His fiancée was everything a Caldwell wife should be. Beautiful, well-connected, and not very deep. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing that concerns you, Ethan muttered, still looking around the room. Oh, there's Gabriel Stone, Isabella said, waving excitedly. She's even more beautiful in person. I have to meet her. Ethan felt a chill as he followed Isabella's gaze. Across the busy ballroom stood Gabriel Stone in a perfectly fitted tuxedo, but it was the woman beside him who shattered his reality. Sophia wore a striking emerald dress that hugged her perfectly, her hair styled elegantly around a confident face. She moved through the crowd like someone destined to be in charge, greeting important people with ease. In her arms, she held a baby dressed in a tiny designer tuxedo, adding to the surreal scene. She's stunning, Isabella continued, unaware of Ethan's rising anxiety. I heard she managed the Stone Enterprises deal with Japan all by herself. Can you believe a woman doing international business like that? Ethan struggled to breathe. The poised woman drawing attention was the same one he had dismissed from his home. The confident socialite discussing business was the girl he had belittled. Ethan, are you listening? I need some air, he mumbled. But just as he tried to escape, the crowd shifted, and Sophia walked right toward them. Time seemed to slow as she neared, her gown making a soft sound against the marble floor. Up close, she was even more impressive. Her skin radiated health and happiness, her eyes sparkled with intelligence, and she carried herself like someone who knew her worth. Isabella beamed and extended her hand. I've been wanting to meet you, Mrs. Stone. You're incredible. How nice of you to say, Sophia replied warmly. When her eyes found Ethan's over Isabella's shoulder, her smile changed to something sharp. And you must be Ethan Caldwell. I don't think we've officially met. Her boldness hit Ethan like a splash of cold water. We haven't met before, have we? She tilted her head as if trying to remember him. I don't recall, though you do seem familiar. Maybe we crossed paths somewhere. Isabella laughed. Ethan, how could you forget meeting someone so impressive? Mrs. Stone practically runs Stone Enterprises with her husband. Just then, Gabriel stepped up beside Sophia, resting a hand on her back. I'd like you to meet William Caldwell, he said. Ethan's father walked over with the kind of polite attention he usually showed to important people. Mrs. Stone, it's a pleasure to meet you. Our talk the other day was quite enlightening. Mr. Caldwell, thank you for meeting with us. I hope our chat was helpful. The way he emphasized the last word tightened Ethan's stomach. It certainly was, he replied. Williams glanced briefly at his son. It's amazing how different viewpoints can bring new insights to old matters. Just then, the baby in Sophia's arms made a soft sound, drawing Isabella's gaze. Oh my goodness, what a lovely baby. How old is he? 18 months, Sophia responded, her voice gentle with affection as she looked at the child. This is Noah, Ethan's son, dressed like a little prince and held by the woman he had tried to harm. The baby looked just like Ethan, with similar eyes, his mother's nose, and the family jawline passed down through generations. He looks just like his father, Isabella commented, not noticing the tension among the adults. Yes, that was true. Sophia and Ethan locked eyes for the first time, revealing 18 months of hurt and anger. He does, Ethan confirmed quietly. No, a gem, Gabriel said proudly, lifting the baby from Sophia. My son. This claim hit Ethan hard. His biggest rival was claiming his child, raising him as his own. Your son? Ethan repeated, his voice strained. Gabriel's smile was sharp. Biology is just genetics. Love and commitment create a family. How wonderful, Isabella exclaimed. A ready-made family, like something from a fairy tale. More like a cautionary tale, Sophia replied softly, her words sharp enough to confuse Isabella. I'm sorry? Isabella asked. Nothing, dear, Sophia said, her smile perfectly polite. I was just thinking about how different things might have been if Noah's biological father had appreciated the gift he was given. Sweat formed on Ethan's forehead as he realized everyone understood her meaning everyone but Isabella. Well, his loss is clearly Gabriel's gain, William said diplomatically. Indeed, Sophia agreed. Some men recognize value when they see it. Others throw away treasures thinking they are worthless. How thoughtful, Gabriel said, his gray eyes on Ethan, though what one man discards often becomes another man's treasure. Ethan wanted to flee from this nightmare where his former housekeeper mingled with New York's elite, while his son called another man daddy. But he felt rooted to the spot, voiceless. Ethan, you're being awfully quiet, Isabella said with forced laughter. Say something. All eyes turned to him, Sophia's gleaming with victory, Gabriel's cold, his father's warning, and Isabella's confused. The baby gurgled happily in Gabriel's arms. Ethan managed to speak shakily. You look well. I am, Sophia replied icily. Better than ever. Life improves when you're surrounded by people who value you. Gabriel suggested they speak with the senator about the education project. Sophia smiled at Ethan one last time, bright and sharp. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Caldwell. I hope you have a great evening. As they walked away, Gabriel's hand rested softly on her back. Noah chatted happily in his adoptive father's arms, making Ethan feel empty inside. The woman he had mistreated was now protected by one of the most powerful men around, raising his son with love he had never tried to give. What a remarkable woman, Isabella said curiously. There was something strange about their conversation, like they had met before. We hadn't, Ethan replied quietly. As the evening progressed, Ethan finally realized how much he had lost not just a woman or child, but a chance at the love and partnership now lifting his biggest rival to unreachable heights. Sophia Stone had truly won, and Ethan Caldwell felt more lost than ever. Chapter 9. The Lost Kingdom. Ethan had been watching the Bright Beginnings daycare for 3 days, hidden behind a delivery truck. He knew Noah's schedule, 9 a.m. drop-off, 3 p.m. pickup. Those few hours when his son was away from Gabriel's secure home, his hands shook as he checked his watch. 2:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the nanny arrived. 13 minutes to reclaim what was rightfully his. The past week had been devastating. Isabella ended their engagement. His father removed him from work, and today the board was meeting to replace him permanently. But worst was the image of his son calling another man Daddy. I can fix this, he whispered, stepping from the car. The daycare's cheerful rainbows felt mocking. Through the window, he saw Noah playing with blocks, dark hair shining in afternoon sun. "I'm here for Noah Stone," Ethan told the young teacher. "I'm his uncle. Family emergency." Mr. and Mrs. Stone didn't mention anyone else picking up Noah. "I need to call them," she replied. "There's no time. It's his grandmother. She's in the hospital." Mrs. Stone asked me to pick up Noah immediately. The teacher hesitated between rules and wanting to help. Behind him, Noah approached curiously. Seeing Ethan, he tilted his head in confusion, searching for recognition. "Daddy," Noah said hopefully, looking for Gabriel Stone. "I'm your real daddy," Ethan said softly, kneeling before the boy. But Noah stepped back shyly, reaching for his teacher. "You're scaring him. I really need to make that call," the teacher said firmly. Emotions surged through Ethan as he quickly grabbed Noah. The toddler began crying, struggling against his hold. "He's my son!" Ethan shouted over Noah's cries. "No one can keep me from my child!" Ethan ran to his car while Noah cried loudly. Other parents stared as he struggled with the hastily installed car seat. Noah's cries became heart-wrenching sobs, revealing his terror. "It's okay," Ethan whispered frantically. "Daddy's here." But Noah only cried louder, calling for his mother. His phone rang. Gabriel Stone's name appeared. "You have exactly 60 seconds to return my son." Gabriel's voice was cold and menacing. "He's not your son," Ethan shot back. "He's mine, my flesh and blood." "Being a father is more than blood. It's about protection, which you've never given him," Gabriel retorted. Stone Enterprises SUVs approached from different directions. Gabriel hadn't just called police, he'd sent a private team. "I just want a chance," Ethan pleaded. "He knows who his father is." "You're just a stranger who scared him," Gabriel replied. Police surrounded Ethan's car. Gabriel emerged from a black Bentley, his face full of anger. Beside him, Sophia stepped out, shaking with rage. "It's over, Ethan," Gabriel said. "Get out now." "Please promise me visitation rights," Ethan begged. "You lost your chance when you pushed Sophia away. You made your choice." As officers arrested him, Ethan saw Sophia holding Noah close. The boy calmed in her arms. "It's okay, sweetheart," Sophia said with protective love. "Mama's here. No one will hurt you again." Gabriel hugged them both, creating safety Ethan would never be part of again. 3 hours later, Ethan sat in a holding cell. The charges were serious: kidnapping and child endangerment. His lawyer brought worse news during their meeting. The district attorney wants maximum penalty. Gabriel is moving to adopt Noah due to abandonment. Since you're not on the birth certificate and have kidnapping charges, the court is fast-tracking his request. "He can't do that! I'm the father!" Ethan protested. "Legally, you have no standing. You were never part of Noah's life. You gave up rights when you abandoned his mother." Ethan stared at cold cell walls, realizing his complete failure. Sophia hadn't just taken his career and reputation. She'd erased him from his son's life. Somewhere in the city, Noah was being tucked in by the only parents he'd known, safe and loved in ways Ethan never imagined possible. The final victory. The Caldwell estate looked exactly as Sophia remembered: grand Gothic architecture and perfectly manicured gardens hinting at old money and power. But now, stepping from her luxury car, she wasn't the ashamed housekeeper she once was. She felt like a queen returning to reclaim what was hers. "Welcome home, Mrs. Stone," Gabriel said softly, his hand resting on her belly where their twins thrived. "It feels perfect," Sophia replied, viewing the property that was now theirs. 18 months had passed since Ethan's imprisonment, and the Caldwell family had fallen completely. Noah, now 3.5, ran beside them, excitedly talking about the big house. He remembered nothing about his biological father. The massive front doors opened, revealing Margaret Caldwell in a simple dress, looking embarrassed. "Mrs. Stone," she greeted quietly. "Welcome. Everything is ready as you requested." Margaret's downfall had been satisfying for Sophia. Once barely acknowledging her, Margaret now depended on her charity. With William dead from stress, Ethan imprisoned, and assets frozen, Margaret had nothing but legal debts. Sophia had offered her work as head housekeeper in the mansion she once served. "Thank you, Margaret," Sophia said kindly, entering the impressive foyer where she used to scrub floors. "I hope dinner preparations are going well." "Yes, ma'am. The senator's dinner will be at 8, as planned." Sophia handed Noah to Gabriel and stepped further into the house, heels clicking on marble she once cleaned. And the master bedroom is redecorated as you asked. I've moved to the staff quarters. Margaret continued, the same quarters where Sophia once lived in a small room. How the mighty have fallen, Sophia whispered, touching the grand staircase railing she had polished countless times. Tell me, have there been any messages from your son? Sophia asked. Margaret's face paled. No, ma'am. Ethan can't contact anyone outside his approved list. Too bad about his situation, Sophia said with false sympathy. A bright young man now doing laundry in a federal facility. But I suppose he's learning about humility and consequences. The reality was harsher than Sophia revealed. Reports showed Ethan struggling mentally, spending days in prison laundry, mumbling about missed chances and lost children while other inmates mocked him about the son who called another man father. Ma'am, Margaret asked quietly, will you need my services long-term? That depends on your performance, attitude, and willingness to know your place, Sophia replied, moving closer. There was a time when you looked down on me, made me feel worthless. Do you remember? Margaret's hands trembled. I was wrong. I see that now. You were wrong, Sophia agreed. Now you serve the woman you thought was just help. You clean floors I walk on, prepare meals I eat, and depend on my kindness for survival. How does that feel? Margaret's composure broke, tears filling her eyes. It feels like justice. Sophia's smile became genuine. We'll get along well, Margaret, as long as you remember that every comfort comes from me, the woman your son dismissed. Just then, a car arrived, an old, worn sedan looking out of place among luxury vehicles. Are you expecting someone? Gabriel asked. Sophia's smile turned sharp. Actually, yes, our last guest for the evening. The knock was soft, almost shy. When Sophia opened the door, Ethan Caldwell stood there like a ghost of his former self. Prison had aged him terribly gray, messy hair, ill-fitting clothes, defeated posture of a man who'd lost everything. Hello, Ethan, Sophia said cheerfully. Sophia, he said shakily. I heard you're living here now. Living here? She laughed mockingly. I don't just live here. I own this place. And you? You're trespassing. Noah peeked around Gabriel's shoulder, looking at the stranger with cautious eyes. I was hoping to see him just for a minute. I know I have no rights, but you thought after kidnapping him, scaring him, and serving time, you deserved a reward. Sophia's voice turned cold. Gabriel stepped forward. He's my son, legally adopted. You're just someone who tried to hurt him. He looks so much like me, Ethan said longingly. He has my name, my love, my care. He calls me daddy because that's what I am, Gabriel replied firmly. Noah, Ethan said softly, reaching for the boy. Noah quickly hid against Gabriel's shoulder. No, the little boy said firmly. Go away, bad man. Those words devastated Ethan. His own son feared him and wanted him gone. Please, Ethan begged. I've lost everything, family, business, freedom. Can you show kindness? Kindness? Sophia repeated thoughtfully. Like when you left me homeless while pregnant, or denied our child's existence. I was wrong, Ethan sobbed. Foolish and cruel. Please. You're asking the wrong person, Sophia replied sharply. You should have asked Noah's forgiveness when you took him. You should have asked mine when you had the chance. But that time is gone. She stepped closer, letting him see her beautiful jewelry, expensive dress, and radiant happiness. Look at me, Ethan. Really look. I have everything you could have had. I could have been your equal, the mother of your children. Instead, I found someone who sees my true value. I know what I lost, Ethan whispered. Do you? You didn't just lose a woman. You lost the love of your life. I loved you deeply, and you destroyed that for pride, fear of what friends might say. She stepped back, hand resting protectively on her stomach. These children I'm carrying will grow up knowing their value, knowing they are cherished. Please leave my property, she said softly. Don't come back. If I see you near my family again, I'll call police. I have nowhere to go, Ethan pleaded. No money, no family, no hope. That's not my concern. You made your choices. Now live with them. As she started closing the door, Ethan's voice made her pause. I loved you. I really did. I was too proud and foolish to admit it. Sophia looked at his worn face, seeing a hint of the man she once cared for. I know you did, she said softly. That's what makes this so clear. You lost the love of your life because you didn't have courage to fight for it. Now you get to watch her be happy with someone who could. The door closed with a loud thud. Sophia watched through the window as Ethan stood on her doorstep before finally turning away, shoulders trembling with silent tears as he drove away from the home he once thought would always be his. Is it over? Gabriel asked gently, pulling her into his arms. Sophia leaned against him, watching Ethan's car disappear. In her arms, Noah played with her necklace, safe in his parents' love. Inside her, 2 new lives grew strong and protected. It's over, she confirmed. Ethan Caldwell is nothing now, and we have everything. As night fell over their estate, Sophia stood in the master bedroom that once belonged to the family that employed her. She had completely redecorated it, removing all signs of the Caldwells and filling the space with her own style. This room, where she once worked as a servant, was now her sanctuary, her place of power. The woman who once faced shame now flourished, while the man who cast her out lived in sorrow. Sophia Stone, formerly Hart, felt overwhelming happiness.